Bypassing that cliff, Chu Qingcheng took Zhuo Fan to a lonely hill. There, the 3 lone tombs looked extremely bleak in the cold wind. "That's my parents, that's my brother." Chu Qingcheng pointed to the 3 graves and sighed. Zhuo Fan looked around and saw that the tombstones of the 2 tombs on the back were written with the words "dead father" and "dead mother." There was only a lone tomb in the front, nothing was written on the monument, only a black cloak draped over it. Looking closely, there are 4 characters written in the middle of the cloak. Great tones. Zhuo Fan couldn't help screaming, but all the practitioners understood that alchemy was so profound that even after exhausting all his energy, he might not be able to get a glimpse of it. What's more, alchemy also needs to follow the cycle of heaven and earth. How dare you say that a pill is all over the sky? It is estimated that even if the poisonous hand medicine king sits in the well and watches the sky, he dare not have such a tone. Someone clearly looked at Chu Qingcheng. Only to see her smile slightly, her eyes showed an indescribable tenderness. "Even you think he is arrogant, right?" Zhuo Fan nodded slightly. Chu Qingcheng smiled, and slowly came to the tombstone. Why Yu hand gently stroked the cloak. "This is my younger brother, Chu Qingshan's tomb. And this cloak is my own for her maid, Chu Qingshan." Zhuo Fan's eyelids shuddered before he recalled. This is not the detailed work that Hu Iulao sent to the palace of Medicine King to worship under the king of the poisonous hand medicine. I did not expect it to be the brother of Chu Qingcheng, the main lord of Huaiyu. Actually sending his younger brother to do such a dangerous thing. Hu Iulao is really a talented person, no one is available. Zhuo Fan smacked his mouth and shook his head helplessly. "Song Wai Yu." At this time, Chu Qingcheng turned his head to look at Zhuo Fan, and his eyes were soft like water, which made him stunned. "You know, since you sent me fruit in that slum and fight me with those people, I think you are very similar to Qingshan. Especially when you battle with Yan Fu. The desperation is desperately carved into a mold with him." Speaking of this, Chu Qingcheng laughed lightly, but there were tears flashing in his eyes, and he seemed to recall the past. Zhuo Fan was ashamed. He always thought he could get close to Chu Qingcheng. It was entirely because of the girl-picking technique from Dong Xianba. It turned out to be a substitute for his younger brother. Somewhat coughing awkwardly, Zhuo Fan murmured, "Sister Chu Chu turned out to be treating me as a younger brother," glancing at him angrily. Chu Qingcheng blamed, "Aren't you asking you to remove the word sister? Why have you forgotten again?" Zhuo Fan was stunned for unknown reason. "Do you treat me as a replacement for your younger brother and still not allow me to call a sister?" Seemingly seeing what he was thinking, Chu Qingcheng smiled and shook his head. "Maybe I did treat you as a younger brother at the beginning, but since that day," speaking of which, Chu Qingcheng's cheeks could not help but red, and after a while he said, "Now, you are not my brother." Her words were ambiguous, and Zhuo Fan was not very clear, but she did not explain, but continued, "My parents are just ordinary disciples in Huaiulao. And they all died under the poisonous palm of the Yaowang Palace in the end. So I and Qingshan swear revenge from childhood, and Grandma sees that we have good talents, so I teach myself." However, after all, he is a man in Qingshan. The only role of a man in Huaiulao is to marry a female disciple and continue the incense of Huaiulao. Qingshan is extremely gifted in alchemy and he does not want to live like this. In a life of inaction, he came out of the Huaiyu Tower and went to the door of the Palace of Medicine King. Isn't he going to do the detailed work? How can he use the word back? Zhuo Fan asked in amazement. Nodding his head, Chu Qingcheng said indifferently, "You said it well. But we didn't even know it at the time, so that I finally wrote a definite letter. It was not until 3 years ago when he returned to Huaiyu building again that we understood. It turned out that this was all Grandma's arrangement. And he did not live up to his mission. He stole the antidote Danfang of the colorful Yunluozhang of the Yao Wangdian. Because the Yao Wangdian was very strict, he engraved the Danfang with the medicine on the back. I can't usually see it, only a special potion can show it. Did you say? The skin in the cave is your brother's. Zhuo Fan was shocked, and felt a little shock in his heart. This Chu Qingshan is really hard to fight for Huaiyulao. Human skin must be used to bring the Danfang out, showing how difficult and dangerous this task is. However, this also gave Zhuo Fan a little inspiration. After he returned to Luo's house again, should he also prepare such a deceased and enter the major families to prepare for the future?